So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall 2 steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven? How do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have a phenomenal guest lined up for you tonight. This morning, from where Mr. Jules Dan hails. He hails from Melbourne, Australia. So everyone's like, "Good day, mate." I've always wanted to do that on a live video. It's the first time I've ever done it. I hope I did it justice there, Jules. You can tell me later when you come on. The Mind, Body, Business Show. It is a show that we had put together with you in mind, and that is the entrepreneur, the small business owner, the person that's looking for the next way to get them out of their place of stuck, where they can get out and just crush it in business. And I have guest after guest on this show who have achieved success in their own areas, and some in many, and are broader than others. And what the beautiful thing I learned in all this time is there are many recipes for success. There are many, but all you really truly need is one. And if what Jules says tonight resonates with you, you can simply follow him, model him, maybe even connect with him when the show is over and take it to the next level. I have made incredible relationships just by doing this show alone. You can do the same by just reaching out to the guests. It's that simple. This is what this show is about, is to help expose the brilliance of these individuals to you, to the world, so that more and more people can achieve success faster. Because let's face it, we don't want to reinvent the wheel over and over, do we? We don't need to. There are many times success has been achieved, and there is a roadmap, and there's many, and they exist. All we need to do is find one and follow it. All right. And the reason that the name of the show is because of the 3 pillars of success, I call them, is I studied very successful people for a period of 10 years. And I just harnessed and focused on them to determine what is it that made them potentially more successful than me. I mean, did they dress differently? Do they shower differently? Do they eat differently? I don't know. But now I do. And none of those are the reason that they are more successful. The reason are those 3 things that are part of the title of this very show. Mind being mindset. To a person, every single successful person that I was studying had a very positive, powerful, and most importantly, flexible mindset. They also took care of their body, literally, meaning physically through exercise and through nutrition and what they ingested. And then business has many, many aspects to it. It's multifaceted. With business, these individuals had mastered the necessary skill sets to achieve greatness in their business. Skill sets like sales, marketing, systematizing, team building, leadership. I could really go on for a long time with all of the different skill sets. The good news for you, now look, mastering anything or becoming an expert in anything can take a very long time. I mean, there's a number that's floating around that's commonly used, 10,000 hours. If you've ever done anything for 10,000 hours, you could coin yourself as an expert. Well, the good news is you don't need to spend 10,000 hours on every one of those skill sets I just mentioned and the many more that go with building a successful business. If you just concentrate on just one skill set, the rest can just take care of themselves. It's pretty amazing. And I actually mentioned that one skill set in that list that I just rattled off here just moments ago. That one skill set is the skill set of leadership. Because when you've mastered leadership, now all you need to do is assemble the people that have already mastered those skill sets that you have yet to master and bring them on your team. And now you can just lead the team with all the skill sets in place and crush it in business. But let's face it, not everybody starts out with a team. Most of us start out as solopreneurs. And so we have solopreneurs that come on the show as well. We have folks showing every aspect of the journey. And so I'm really happy that you're here watching. If you're listening on podcasts, so happy that you're here. And you're going to really, really enjoy this young man who's coming up. His name's Jules Dan. But before I do that, I want to quickly switch gears. There is another trait of highly successful people that I love to spotlight. And what that is they are voracious readers of books. And so with that, I like to segue into a little segment I affectionately call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
There you see it, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. For those of you watching live, even if you're listening on a podcast and you have access to, say, a computer or a phone where you're going to get the temptation to tap on a browser and go check out a resource, please, I implore of you, resist that temptation and instead write down notes on traditional pad of paper with a pen or on your notepad on your computer instead of running off and looking at these resources. Because I love to say this all the time from stage. Back when I was speaking on stage, that's going to come up again soon, I hope. And that is the magic happens in the room. So stay with us. Stay in the room, the virtual room. Keep your focus and attention on Jules Dan, because he's going to be dropping bombs of wisdom and knowledge bombs and smart bombs. You're going to love this. I mean, literally, you're going to see bombs flying on this show. And I'd really love for you to just pay attention, because for you, I mean, I have to pay attention. I'm running the show and I get the most out of the show probably than anybody. And I'd like you to get the same amount by just paying attention to Mr. Jules Dan. He's coming on right after this. Real quick, the Reach Your Peak Library website. It's reachyourpeaklibrary.com. I had that made, and I am not kidding, literally with you in mind, because I myself did not begin voraciously reading until the age of 47. I will be 57 at the end of this month. This is August 2021. And I was just floored by the amount of value and the amount of progress I made in both business and personal life once I began reading the right books, not just any book. And that doesn't say you can't read leisure books and fiction and things like that for enjoyment. Not saying that at all. But if you're looking to really crush it in business, then maybe start picking out books that will help you in that realm. And I got to tell you, many of these are super interesting. They have great stories. They're not dry. And they're on this list only because I personally have read them. I vetted them. And not every book has made this list that I've ever read. So this is just there for you to just go grab one. And this is not to make money. You click a button, it goes to Amazon. I may make a few cents. I mean, literally, I don't even know. It's amazing. This isn't for money. And as you scroll down, just pick the first book that jumps off the screen, that you read the description. Oh, that looks interesting. Just go after that one and then come back and find the next one when you're done with that, and just wash, rinse, repeat. So that is my gift to you. And we have more gifts on this show. So you'll want to stick around. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. Before we do that, I think it's time for Brian to stop yakking so much and bring on our very, very special guest expert, Jules Dan. Here he comes.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. The one, the only. It is Mr. Jules Dan. How are you doing this morning?
How are you doing this morning, Brian? Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
It's so cool that I can now boast that this show does time travel, because you are tomorrow and I am still today.
In the future, I'm on Friday. It's a Friday today, so I'm actually going to call it. I like calling a bit early on Fridays. It's like a half day on Friday for me. So
love it.
Lots of reading. You know, you mentioned you had a book list before. You didn't mention this one book. I love this book. I had to get it from my bookshelf. Have you read this one, right?
Oh yes.
That is the best one.
There are many, and I didn't scroll down to the end, but in all honesty, I have not read that book yet. There are so many awesome books. Yeah.
What? Okay, you can mind. Lots of good, like, simple reminders, and I love it because the takeaway is there's no ninja hacks for persuasion and influence. It's like
it's
listening to people, and just there's a few other little nice things in there. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Am I the first Aussie?
I don't believe so. I'm sorry.
Oh
no, because but you know what? I love Aussies. I love you all. I truly do. I've worked with Australians for a number of years now, and it's just, I don't know, instant kinship. It's amazing, and we speak the same language. That helps a lot, I'll tell you. Some will argue that, but
yeah, I've been to the States a few times, and they're like, so you speak English? I'm like, what? A couple of times I heard Americans ask, have you got churches in Australia? I'm like, oh God, like, where do I even begin?
Do you have running water? Bathrooms?
Yeah.
How about?
Yeah. We live in the bush, tin sheds and stuff.
Yeah, literally in a bush. But anyway, real quick before we move on, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping is what I was trying to say. And what I want to do is point out our sponsors right above Jules' left shoulder there on the right of your screen if you're watching the video. That red stamp, that is the Big Insider Secrets. That is my good friend Jason Nast who runs that. And what they have given us, what they provided us to give to you is that one of you who stay on with us to the end has the opportunity to win a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star luxury resort. Again, all compliments of Jason and his incredible business. And Jules Dan has something for you toward the end of the show as well. He probably doesn't even remember what that was. I'll remind him. And then we have a couple more and we'll get with it. All right. If you're struggling with putting together a live show and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people like Jules Dan and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing, saturate the marketplace with your message. And one of the key components that is contained in the Carpet Bomb Marketing system is one that you'll learn how to absolutely master. And that is the very service we use to stream our live shows right here on the Mind Body Business Show. And right now, we're doing it right now. So over the course of over 9 years of doing this live TV via the internet, I've tried many of these quote unquote TV studio solutions, the software for live streaming. And I'll tell you, I'm a tech geek, and I'll tell you, StreamYard is the best of the best. It combines supreme ease of use and along with unmatched functionality. They're just continually rolling out new things. And so you can actually start streaming high quality, professional looking, very, very important, professional looking live shows for free with StreamYard right now. Write this down. Don't go there. Write this down. The URL is ryp.im/streamlive. One more time, it's ryp.im/streamlive. That is the web address. So go ahead and check that out after the show is over, because right now it is time to bring on and bring back the amazing Jules Dan and give him the introduction that he deserves. Are you ready, Jules? Are you ready?
Yeah, it's time to talk about me, Brian. Enough about you.
Exactly. This is gonna blow your mind. Are you ready for this? All right. Jules Dan is a group fitness instructor turned email copywriter and has a passion for stories. His podcast, Storytelling Secrets, that's the name of his podcast, is for coaches, consultants, and course creators who want to unlock their core stories and use their stories to sell more online. It's the place to master persuasion and influence so you can build a deep relationship with your audience. Very key. And it's the place where real world marketing strategies, tips, and lessons are shared freely. I love the real world. I don't want any phony stuff going. There's a lot of that, and I'm being serious. There's a lot of that phony stuff. Storytelling Secrets, the podcast, has been featured in the top 100 for entrepreneurship in the US and in the top 50 for Australia and the UK. Beautiful. And I had the distinct pleasure of appearing on Jules's, did I say that? Jules's
Yeah,
podcast.
you can say that. It's a bit of a mouthful, huh?
Some few weeks ago, and it was an absolute kick, Jules. I really enjoyed it. So welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. We're talking about like NLP, ninja hacks, and I love that sort of stuff. I hadn't had anyone talk about NLP before, so yeah, it was really interesting, man. And it has been a bit of a journey from 2020 when I was made redundant as a group fitness instructor because of COVID, and then it's been a bit of a wild ride to get to where I am, but love it. It's so fun.
It's so awesome. I was a was in the fitness industry, and I was a certified personal trainer and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. I did everything online long before COVID hit, and I could not get it to go. Then COVID hit, and then everyone went online. I was like, wow, that's okay, because I love what I get to do. I'm happier doing what I do now. I love fitness still, don't get me wrong. And I'm sure you do too, Jules. And now I get to do the fun things like this, automation, to build shows and help people do the same. So isn't it neat how things can redirect us, but for the better when we look back?
Oh yeah, totally. So I'm so, I was at my, I was fully deep into the fitness world, Brian. I had a degree in exercise and sports science. I thought I was going to be a strength and conditioning coach. However, when I was in my internship, I remember I asked, like, there were elite level coaches. We were doing the same sort of thing. It was very formulaic. And I asked them, is this what you do every day? Like, yeah, pretty much. And they had 3 different roles at like a physio clinic, at the school, and at an elite sports club. And I'm like, I do not want this at all. And I kind of enjoyed writing. Started working on Upwork for $5 an hour just to get some experience while doing the group fitness classes, PT, that sort of stuff. And then COVID hit, and I was just forced to sort of just dive into it. I had nothing else really I could do. And that's why I loved it. So just reading all these direct response books, slowly getting better, getting slightly better result. Used all my money actually to invest in a mentor to work one-on-one with him. And then that's when results just started to go like that. And the rest is history. And like you just said, it's amazing what circumstances do to make us pivot. But it all comes down to, like you said at the start, it's the first word of your podcast or your live show, the mind. It's like it all comes down how you like interpret things.
And you said something right there that caught my ear. You invested in a mentor. Did I hear that right?
Still with him. Yeah.
So you know what that is. That's a bomb dropping moment right there. I love that. And notice what Jules said. After he got the mentor, that's when things started really opening up for him and getting better. And that's so true. I've heard this so many times, Jules. And then you go and work with colleagues or friends that just refuse to bring on anyone because I got this. I can do this all on my own. Or they think, well, that costs money. Well, they don't think about, well, what is it costing you not to hire or invest in a mentor, to try to do it yourself and take 10 years to figure it out, when with a mentor, you can do it in 3, as an example.
It's weird. I don't understand. Like, people, unless they're guided with someone, there's something about just that accountability that, I don't know, you just can't really quite get from a book or a course just doing it yourself. And not only that, it's the feedback too. I think the reason why I got so good so quickly was because I was writing 5 to 7 emails a week. I was on a weekly call with Pete, and he would just literally rip them up. This is shit. Like, start again. And we'd be going through that pattern for weeks. But then I remember one week it just clicked. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that feedback and that guidance. And like you mentioned at the start, Brian, it's not about reading a lot of books, it's about reading the right books. He gave me this whole list of direct response books. He's like, I want you to start here, read this. Then I want you to read this. Then I want you to read this. And then I want you to tell me about what you read and how we're going to apply it to your writing. I'm like, okay. So it was very fun, very intense, but I love this game. I can't wait to share some cool things with your audience as well.
Me too. Yeah, it sounds like a phenomenal person to have in your corner as a coach, as a mentor. My goodness.
He's another Aussie too as well. His name is Pete Godfrey, if anyone's wondering.
Pete Godfrey. Is that with a D at the end?
Godfrey.
Okay. Just, is it the way it sounds? F-R-E-E?
Godfrey.
E-Y. Okay.
Yeah. So accent got in the way there. Did someone ask a question in the feed? I saw a little bubble pop up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. She said, Paige Spears, she said, I may not know exactly who I need. And maybe that was in response to a mentor. I don't know exactly when that came in. But Paige, if you would elaborate on that, that would be phenomenal. I appreciate that.
We got some audience interaction here. I didn't know that. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's the beauty of this, the live show arena. Yeah, and love it when people do interact because it makes it that much more fun. Feel free to ask questions, add comments, add supportive comments, or just keep it positive and we'll have fun. So you have put in the work. You've invested in yourself with money. You put skin in the game. These are all what I call attributes of a successful person, because a lot of people that don't succeed wonder why. And all they need to do is listen to someone like you. It's so brutally simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple because, Jules put in the work. I'm sure the investment strained him financially. If it didn't, then it wouldn't have been as effective as it was, because if you don't have enough skin in the game, you're not going to take it serious. If it doesn't hurt you financially and it doesn't feel a little bit of a strain, then you're going to put less effort into it. No pain, no gain, right?
Exactly.
And so Jules has already dropped a nugget of wisdom for those of you who have not gone down the path of finding a mentor or a coach. And it sounds like he's sharing his with you from Australia. That would be phenomenal. But find a mentor, find a coach in your space. It might be someone who speaks often, does seminars, workshops, boot camps, and be ready to invest money. And the reason is you want to find somebody that's got results, like Jules's mentor. When you find somebody that has the results, they've had the success. Here's the one thing, the missing element I've always found, Jules, because how many times have you gone down this path, and then you stop short on every one of them because another shiny object comes up?
That's my story. That's my story.
Yeah, and I found the reason that we stop is we have lack of certainty that direction will get us to the finish line. But when you pull in a mentor or a coach that has succeeded, the certainty is already embedded. And all you need to do is blindly follow what they tell you to do, as long as it's in alignment with your values and it's integrity based and all that. That's cool. The missing piece is the certainty, and that's why so many people struggle when they don't have a mentor. They don't have certainty that what they're doing is going to get them to that success. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I haven't heard that phrase that way, because that is my story. I did Facebook ad bots and stuff. I did Amazon FBA. I tried and did Kindle publishing. I tried and did affiliate marketing. But I got halfway and then stopped for whatever reason. I don't know why. I got a little bit into it, then I didn't really finish it. But like you just said, is that certainty, because you're with that person, you're in constant contact. Maybe it's even a personal relationship, and you understand their story. So when I heard Pete's story, where he came from, he was like a working class dude who was working 12 hours at a manual labor job. And he created his own mail order business at 7 o'clock at night after a 12-hour day. And he slowly got his way out of it. And just hearing his story from over 20 years and how he was able to focus on one thing, and that was getting better at copy, and then obviously getting clients. But just when you, like you said, it gives you that certainty. But when you can invest into your mentor's story as well to push you along, I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, there's so much behind that. Pete and what he did, he hustled. I mean, listen to that. He worked 12 hours a day. And then when he got home, he then started cultivating his exit ticket from that life.
Exactly.
And that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of loss of sleep. It takes sacrificing having a lot of fun and doing things you would normally want to do, like sit on the couch, watch football, or whatever your favorite sport is. And so that's inspiring to know. So here you go. We're talking about recipes for success. Yeah, you gotta roll up your sleeves. Nothing is simple. I mean, nothing is automatic. Nothing is just going to be handed to you and then, it works. Network marketing companies often say stuff like, well, all you need to do is duplicate yourself. You can't duplicate yourself. It's a relationship building business, but many of them unfortunately don't tout it that way. And they think you're just going to go in, recruit 3 people and sit back and get rich. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. Jules did it. You hired a mentor. I mean, how long did the process take, even after you hired a mentor, to finally get up to the point where you could bring on clients and start making an income?
I was doing it before I met Pete, and it wasn't a lot of money, to be honest. It's probably like $500 a week or something like that, maybe a bit less. And when I started working with Pete, I just, I had one retainer client, a few more gigs coming in, but the results weren't coming in for at least 5 months. And because it was always, I was writing content or they didn't implement. I'm like, God, just someone use the copy and get a result. And it wasn't until in September of 2020 or October, I can't remember, but it was the first 6-figure launch for a client. So I went from having no results to bringing in 150K for someone with only a 2,000 person list. And I almost lost my shit because I was like, yes, like I've been waiting so long for this. And it finally happened. And then after that, it was just like write a campaign for a client, result. So it took a bit of work, a bit of patience, but I stuck with it and kept going.
I mean, 5 months is a very short period of time for most people. A lot of people would pay. If Pete's that good, then that's pretty darn impressive. 5 months. And here's the thing that you said about after you got that first client. That is so true. The struggle is real. It is mighty until you get that first bona fide client. And once that happens, something triggers in your brain. And it's on the realm of you're already confident in what you do. You know you're doing it good. But until it actually happens, that just takes, it's like shifting a car into the next gear and going faster and more effortlessly. And it just something clicks and suddenly it just opens the floodgates and you start bringing in client after client. So it's just getting past that first one. And that's what I see. People too often stop just short, 3 feet from gold, where they're digging. They don't know there's gold 3 feet on the other side. And they've been digging for 5 years and they're almost there. And then they stop. And that's, 5 months is not that long, brother. That's awesome. Congrats.
Absolutely. And if anyone's listening as well, for me, I was just having this crippling imposter syndrome. I was trying to create content. I was trying to bring in clients. I didn't have any results to back me up. And I kept thinking, who am I to do this? Who am I to do this? So I just talk about intangible results or just other little things I'm working on, sharpening the saw. But it wasn't until I got that big result that I thought, okay, my imposter syndrome is gone. I can do this. So whoever's listening, just push through for that first result, because that's when, like you just said, Brian, the gate opens. You know you can do it, and you can speak with confidence that you can do it. And that's what's magnetic to people who want to buy into what you've got.
And I love that you said the term imposter syndrome, because I think everybody has a little bit of that in them before they reach that pinnacle of the first client. And one thing, one technique or strategy I found that helped me along those lines was, and this is just a helpful tip for everyone out there that might be going through that stage, is go ahead and start your program, but do it as a beta test program and consider doing it for free, and reach out to people and say, I'm doing this to determine if my program is worthy of going, launch, global, getting paid for it. Would you mind being part of my group and giving me honest feedback throughout your process and journey with me? And I found that to be extremely useful. I didn't have to worry about feeling like an imposter during any of that. I just went back and forth and said, is this working? Is that working? Tell me what doesn't work. Okay, thank you. I can refine it and then launch. Let's go. So that's one way to get it. Oh, here we have a clarification from Paige. She said, everyone mentors from a different space. I may not have found the right one to help me from just starting. Yes, that could be true. Definitely. And that is so true. And not just everyone mentors from a different space. We are all at a different time and a different location in our journey. It's interesting, isn't it? Have you ever read the same book more than once, Jules? I know you're kind of young, but
yeah, I'm rereading Richard Branson's book. That's a good one. Reread How to Influence People. What else? I'm looking at my bookshelf.
And so those books that you read them the second time, it's exactly the same information that you pull from them, right? It's just like,
not necessarily. You have a new perspective the second time you read it.
And that you answered. That was my point. I was being facetious. Yeah.
Oh, right.
The book is totally. I used to listen to a CD by my mentor, and it became a book later. And I listened to it. I lost count how many times. It was my Bible for teaching his students from stage. I had listened to it to and from the event, And that was my way of rehearsing in the car. And every single time without fail, something else came. I was like, I don't remember hearing that the last time I heard it, or the last.
It's weird. It's weird, right?
And so to Paige's point, you're in a different space. You are too. And so your space is moving. Their space might not be in alignment with where you are currently. So yeah, you might need to find a different mentor. And I'm sorry for whoever that is, but go ahead, Jules.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off, being like, not necessarily. Like, yeah, I know what you're doing there. I've actually listened to Pete's podcast from episode 1 to 178. I kid you not, Brian, like 8 times. And every single time I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll write this down. Oh, I'll use this little idea. It's just, as you can tell, I'm very invested with Pete.
And that's good. I was the same way with my mentor. He just is no longer in the seminar industry for health reasons and nothing other. And he helped me immensely. He's the one I was telling you about right before the show, Jules, that bought that Vocal Ease company. There's a shameless plug for him. And so, yeah, I had the same relationship. And, he was like, he was he still is much younger than I am. Literally could be, the difference in age. He could literally be my son by age. None of that matters to me. And I'm saying this on purpose because, Jules may become your next mentor. He may become my next mentor. I'm 57. I don't care about age. I care about results and integrity and character and everything that goes with it. And so don't let anything stop you. Male, female, black, white, none of that matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The results are what matter, and character and integrity that have to be part of it. That's all you need. And then as long as they're a fit and they're in the same stage, or at least able to help you in the stage you're in, Paige, that would be a recommendation, is to find someone that knows how to get you going. If you're just starting out. Yeah, you're just starting. Good. All right. Fantastic. This is already a lot of fun, Jules. I remember this from our chat. And we talked about NLP. It was just, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. It just went that way organically. And that's the way it's going tonight. It's phenomenal. Before I go too far down the path, you became an email expert, and you obviously put in the time, and now you're seeing the success. What would you say is your ideal target market? Who's your avatar? Is there an age range? Is there a company size, that kind of thing?
Okay, so let's break it down. Coaches, consultants, course creators, that's the who, but a little bit more specific. Ideally, we've got like a list of around 1,500 people. And with that list, we were running paid traffic or traffic to an opt-in page or like a webinar, a lead magnet, or there's an ad and trying to get people through a VSL, but you need to follow up to book them for a call. That's the main thing, especially if you're selling on the phone. Man, we can do some cool things with email. It's the best way to nurture the relationship when people aren't quite ready, and use stories to really persuade them to feel like, okay, if this feels safe to be on a call with someone, because that's the main thing, Brian. Like, people don't feel safe getting on calls with strangers, and that's why I like using email as a nurture.
That sounds very intriguing. So you take what people already have as far as a list, and then you give them their tools to be able to message them in a way that will give them the results. Is that a good way of stating it? Maybe not. That's okay.
Maybe not. The way I would see it is, especially if they're coming through like an ad, they've put their hand up to say, I'm interested in getting this solution done, but I'm not sure if, 1, I believe that your thing can actually do it. 2, I'm not sure if I have the belief in succeeding with your thing, because I've failed in multiple different attempts. I don't look like embarrassment and failure to my spouse. All this internal crap comes up. And then they're also thinking, do I have the time, money, or resources to make this all happen? And so people are interested to put their hand up first, say, yes, I want the email just out of an impulse. I want your training just out of an impulse, whatever. But then it's my job, but then it's the job of the person who's writing these emails to really persuade them in a way that's not cheesy, that's not pushy. It's with empathy, right? So when you understand what's going on in their day really well, when you know all the trials and tribulations they've been through, and you're able to tell it with a story of someone else who's been in that exact same situation, I think that's how you persuade. But I'm interested to hear about you, Brian, because I know you've had a lot more experience in this than I have.
No, I love that. It's about being, there's several words. there's transparency, there's authenticity. And this is what we learned, or what I learned speaking from stage is, you go up on stage, and this could be a webinar, it could be anything, but it's like a constructed presentation. So you have like a PowerPoint slide deck or whatever. And as a speaker, the natural tendency is to think about hitting all the data points and making sure you hit all the bullets and you said it just right. And what I learned over a long period of time is people don't care about that nearly as much as they care about hearing a human-driven story.
Yeah.
And they want to, that it causes connection, because if you're up there saying, I just made $2 million and it took me 5 hours to get there, everyone whoever is hearing that message is going to go, oh, well, then I can't do that, so I don't relate to you.
Yeah, and some people will be seething with anger that they are not successful and you are.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah, I'm in the back going, I'm working my freaking butt off, and you're up there in flip-flops on the stage like you're on the beach, and you're making millions. How the heck is this happening? Yeah, you're right. And a lot of emotions go through it. But this is true, Jules, and you probably will concur that storytelling is supremely powerful in all forms of communication. So email, this written form, video form, on stage live form, if it's audio only form, story, books. Oh my gosh, there's one. If you're going to write a book, I'll guarantee you someone else has written a book on the very same topic you're about to write on. What would make yours different? Your stories. That's what makes you stand out. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Hey, I'm supposed to be interviewing you. What's going on here? That was a good question.
I like to engage the other person, so it feels good.
No, that's good. And I can tell that's what you do with Pete. And so you're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, this would be how you would do it on the client side. Like Jules is saying, well, what's your take? And I want to learn from you. And here's the other thing. I can tell Jules has let go of his ego. He wouldn't ask me any questions if he had an ego. He would say, I know everything about this. I'm not going to ask anyone else about it. This is all I know. Come on, I don't need you. He asked somebody else just a moment ago for their opinion. And that tells me he's already at a very young age learned to get rid of his ego and get it out of the way, because that's one of the pathways to success, is to get that thing out of your way. Because once you do that, oh my gosh, then you'll be more open to hiring that mentor or coach. Then you'll be more open to asking and being curious. Richard Branson, one of the most curious guys on the planet. He came up to my mentor during a break at a event in a hotel room and just started peppering him with questions. And my mentor is telling this story from stage, and he's like, hey, man, you're Richard Branson. I want to ask you some questions. What's going on here? The point is, Richard Branson, he's very, very wealthy for a reason. He has no ego, and he's very curious. What do you think about that, Jules? Have you learned things about ego directly?
Well, I'm actually reading his book again, and it's really interesting because he is just has multiple interests all the time and always trying to be learning something new. Like, how does someone go from school to writing a magazine to running a mail order record business to a record shop to a record label to an airline to a retail business? You don't do that without being insatiably curious. And I was actually talking on my podcast this morning with his name was Adil. I can't remember Adil Amasi. He's a great copywriter, really into storytelling. He said, the way you'd be just irresistibly interesting to everyone else is that if you have a lot of interest, that you can connect with people. Because then otherwise, if you're just living in this silo and you're not curious about life, then you're not going to have much to talk about. And that's the thing, right? You just got to be likable. You got to share common interests. Otherwise, I don't know. I feel like what you said, it's definitely true. We definitely need to be curious. And then just always following up with how, like, I'm kind of babbling here. What I'm trying to say is, like, just showing the interest in other person as well, as well as being insatiably curious and not just spewing how curious you are. I think that's you're genuine about it. You're being genuinely curious. It's not fake or phony. And one guy that's mastered that, I had the luxury of having him on my shows, Les Brown. He's a world-renowned international speaker, 75 years old, still crushing it. And I got the unique pleasure of talking to him, not just on this show, but on the phone, one-on-one several times. And he always employed everything you're talking about. He was deeply interested in what I did. I'm like, you're Les Brown. I want to hear about you. I'm thinking in my head. And he's the most gracious,
wonderful person, and he makes you feel good about yourself. He just says, you are amazing. And, he just says all these great things. He's never met you before. He's just a wonderful human being. And of course, that makes him extremely likable, like you're saying, but it's with authenticity. That's the key. It's not plastic. If you normally aren't a person that's praising other people, then don't just go out and start doing it. Ease into it, practice it, learn it until it becomes comfortable and it becomes you. Don't do it fake or phony.
I like this little thing my mentor taught me, and it was, a picture the other person is a movie and you are buying into their movie and you're really interested in their movie, rather than trying to speak first. Because I remember one of the questions you wrote in your questionnaire was like, what were the top 3 skills? And surprisingly, I reckon one of the best ones was active listening, or just being very curious in the other person. Because I don't know about you, Brian, but how many times are you talking to someone and they're just waiting to pounce to talk?
And I'll be honest, I've been, guilty of doing that many times myself.
Sure, we all have, right?
Yeah.
But the key is awareness. That's the first step. And and I know for you. So, what would your top? And I'm interested here because your show is a lot about success, mind, body, business. What would it says top 3 skills, but if you could just narrow it down to one, what would your top skill be?
Never, ever, 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 ever give up. Consistency, persistency, perseverance, drive, determination. It's all encapsulated into one. Is if you don't have the drive, don't even go down that path. You need to develop it, or you weren't innately given it. Because as you can hear from Jules, he went through a struggle. He had to completely shift his whole business model because of a pandemic. He had to stop doing what he was doing. It turned out to be a blessing, thankfully. But he just buckled up his shoes and pulled up his pants and went to work. And he got a mentor. And that showed. What's that?
Pulled up my chair. I learned how to touch type. Did you know I was actually typing with 2 fingers before I started? So I had to. I was like, I have to learn how to do this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, that would be a skill set. Learn how to type. Yeah, right. Definitely. I did that in goodness sakes, 7th or 8th grade. Was the first time and these were mechanical where your fingers would literally get stuck in between them at times. But just don't give up no matter what people say. And unfortunately, sometimes those people are your very closest family.
People who love you. They want to care for you.
And they want the most for you, yet it feels like they don't when that kind of stuff happens.
This is the deep topic, Kelly. Brian.
What was that?
So this is a deep topic because man, we could go really deep in this. Because have you heard this hypothesis before that the reason why family doesn't want you to succeed is because if you succeed, it makes them feel inadequate or they aren't living up to success?
It's universal. Inside family, outside family, and it may be more because you're closer. And yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. But it's just like, look, I'm gonna take you with me. You're my family. You're gonna come along the ride with me. I'm not leaving anybody. At least I wouldn't. There might be others that say, I can't wait to get out of this family. I need to get out of here. And that's different. But it's universal. That's why a lot of people see a very, elaborate, very expensive sports car going down the road next to them, and they're like swearing at them. You son of a bitch! You probably just got that you had a rich uncle or something. It's like, well, if you're that way, if you think about people that way that make money, then it is impossible for you to ever reach that pinnacle of financial wealth in your life, because you cannot ever achieve something that you despise. It won't happen.
Yeah.
Why not turn that around and bless them and say, most everyone you see that has wealth that you know of worked very hard. Yes, there are some that didn't, that got, some kind of windfall from mom or dad or grandpa. That's okay. They will usually self-sabotage and throw it all away. Those that didn't work for it, typically, if they're not brought up in the right way. But most people work hard for it. Just say, hey, bless them. They got really wealthy doing something, hopefully serving others. And I hope they get even more money so they can help more people. That's what entrepreneurs do, Jules. I've not interviewed a single person on this show. That is what drives every one of us, is we love to serve people. And I want you, Jules, to become enormously wealthy.
Thanks.
Sincerely, I want you to, because I know you will just go out and help more people and just expand your business. I just know you will. And yeah, go buy some toys, have some fun, enjoy what you've done at the same time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. No guilt whatsoever. Take a victory lap or 2 or 10 and just keep crushing it and keep helping people. Build a business, sell it, let it keep helping people. Go get another one, build another one. That's the way we roll. You got me all excited there, buddy. That was good. That was good. Yeah. So you have a podcast, and it was a lot of fun. How's that been? How are you using that? Is it becoming a marketing tool in its own right for you, or what are you using it for in your business at the moment?
Yeah, gotta be honest. I started with zero audience, zero influence. Actually, wasn't a copywriter when I first started it. I started when I was actually doing it at the gym, and I was just interested in storytelling and direct response. So it's been a good tool to document the journey along the way. I said in my bio, I share hard-won lessons from real world. So usually every week I just report back with a little win, an idea, something that was good that happened. And it's been a really good way to document the journey. So that's that. Back to, like you said, it's a good marketing tool. It's a better networking tool for me right now. See, I'm not at, say, like, I read Joe Rogan has something like 50 million downloads a month, and that was in 2018. So we don't even know how ridiculous it is right now. I'm not even close to that. Not even at like 0.00000 like 1% of that. But like I said, it isn't to build the list. It isn't to get the audience to come clients. It's the best networking tool ever, and it's allowed me to meet amazing people because of it, such as yourself, bro. Build a relationship with them and had some clients come out of it that way. But main thing is the network. I'm sure you could agree, Brian. Like, you've met some amazing people along the way because of your show.
I might agree just ever so slightly with that one. Yes. You just hit the nail on the head. I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Seth Green, and he co-hosts a podcast with Kevin Harrington. Kevin Harrington was one of the first sharks on the Shark Tank, the show, and as seen on TV, mogul, infomercial, juggernaut guy. And I've met him and shared the stage with him a couple. He's an awesome dude, awesome guy. But Seth Green, when I interviewed him on this show, he said nearly the same thing you just said, because they have over 630 plus episodes, a lot podcast. So do you think they know what they're doing? If they're still around and they're doing that many. And so I asked him a similar question, Jules, and I was so ecstatic over his answer. And he said, we don't care about subscribers. We don't care about downloads. We don't care about ratings. We don't care about rankings. It's all about leveraging the guests that we have on our show and their network and getting those relationships and building the relationships. He said, it is not about the audience. It's not about the number of listens. It's not about the number of downloads. It has nothing to do with that. It's not about finding sponsorship. It's about making the relationship with the people you are interviewing and then leveraging their tribe along the way and doing it as a win-win. And that was a mic drop moment, because so many, Jules, and I was one of them, was like, how do I monetize a podcast? How do I monetize a live show? You don't, not directly. Most of us don't, unless you're a Joe Rogan, right? Unless you have a big name and you've been out there.
$100 million with Spotify. Yeah. That ain't going to happen. Don't make that your goal.
It could happen. And if it is your goal, make it your goal to the audience. But don't go in it and think you're just going to do a podcast for a year or two and you're going to become wealthy. It doesn't happen that way normally. Just saying that. And yeah, you would want to make it your entire focus. If that's what your goal is, everything should be on that and nothing more and nothing else. But yeah, so that was very telling. And he was spot on, because I had been doing this for over 2 years at the point that I had that interview with him. And that's exactly what was happening for me. I had people that I had on I always say this, my show, this show is not my business. Just like your podcast is not your business. You're just talking and you're building your own platform. People are getting to know you. And as a result of that, they become more comfortable in doing business with you when you have a pain that you solve of theirs. That's it. It's that simple. It's simple. but it takes time, takes effort. I've been doing this almost 3 years, just this show alone. It takes time, perseverance, consistency, persistence, everything I said. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Jules. And thank you for being honest about that, because, you know, some people would just be flat out embarrassed and wouldn't want to admit that. No, I don't get a ton of, I got my 10,000th download of the audio podcast recently. And I thought, to me, that was a huge deal. But at the same time, I'm thinking it's still not what is important. It's after the fact. People go to look for you if they're, you know, you have a business, you do email copywriting. So what is somebody that's never heard of you before that now is interested? What are they going to do? What do you think?
Yeah, they're going
to Google you. They're going to look everywhere. Where are they going to find you? Podcast here, guest on a podcast there. He's on a show, the Mind Body. This guy is everywhere. That means he's not just a tire kicker. He's real. He's bona fide. He works hard. And if he works hard that way, he's going to work hard when I'm his client. See how that works? Pretty awesome.
Brian, there's just so many benefits as well. So like you said, don't focus on the numbers, but you can leverage the guests. So Brian came to my show. I came onto his show. You guys see that relationship? So it's a really good platform for you to guest speak on other people's platforms, because you can exchange platforms. So really good opportunity to get better at public speaking. I think that's an awesome skill to have. What else is there?
I mean, that's how we met.
Yeah.
How did we meet? I had a guest named Lois Kofi on my show. She hooked me up with you, or vice versa, because we each knew each other. It was through relationships built from this very network. I mean, I'm intrigued by your copywriting skills. There may be an opportunity for us to joint venture down the path. When we get off the show, I'm not going to sell or pitch you on anything. I never do. Things happen naturally. That's how it works, and it works wonderfully well. So anyway, you had a thought, and I think I cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just thinking, what are some other really good benefits of starting a podcast? Like you said, it's the added authority as well. Just saying you're a podcaster has that ring where everyone's like, oh, okay, this person knows their shit.
And that goes true. So I'll never forget a gentleman. His name's Rick Frischman. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he used to do Author 101 University twice a year, once in Nevada, once in California. And he's an expert on publishing books and everything about books for business. And one of the things he said, I will never forget, he said, the most important thing you can do in your business is what he called building your platform. That was books, yes, and everything else you can do, like podcasting, like live shows now. Back when I learned all this from him, I don't think live shows existed. And anything you can to get exposure is your platform. So books is another huge, I can't tell you how many, Jules, that I've interviewed that said the moment they authored and published their first book, their business just took off. It's still true today. So a book is another arrow in your quiver to, I've got mine 90% done. I got to just pinch it off and get it done, be done with it and get it out there. And I can't wait. And I've got a second one that's already in the works before the first one's even done. So it's crazy. But a book is another great way. So yeah, building authority is a definite plus. Speaking on stage, Jules, you're like, you've got a great personality. I'm a guy, so don't take this wrong way, but you're a good looking dude. And I think you would be phenomenal on stage. You have a good presence. And speaking, and I'm talking physical stage in addition to the virtual. I know you guys are locked down, but when that opens up, get on stage the moment you're invited, or stick your foot up there and say, I'm next. I can't wait. Your mentor might give you some connections to do that as well.
Yeah, hopefully. I cut my teeth actually with Toastmasters, and that was a lot of fun. My only gripe with Toastmasters was you go there for like a 2-hour meeting, and I probably had like 5 minutes of practice out of 2 hours. But if you're just getting started and you want to get into public speaking, I highly recommend you do it. It was just invaluable. Transferred a lot of the skills from Toastmasters to being a podcast host, and now being a podcast guest, asking you questions, being engaging, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you learn intangible things like that, not just how to speak properly and say it right. And I went to Toastmasters several times after I learned advanced speaking skills from my mentor and his team. And it was interesting because they were advanced. We were using NLP for good. It was none of this hocus pocus. And we didn't say things like buy now, because that's UI. right? And all those things. It was all used on the up and up, but it was how to properly present and tell stories. The whole thing was for giving the audience the result. It wasn't about us. It was about what can we do to make their day worth sitting here and watching and listening to us? How can we get them the best results possible? Then you learn different tools and techniques on how to pre-frame the event, how to ask questions and interact, how to stay in control of the conversation if you're the speaker so you don't have heckler, all that put together. Then you go to Toastmaster. It was like, to me, it was like, this is kind of like child's play. It's kind of fun, but, and I know what you mean. So if you go multiple times, ultimately you get to be one of those that gets to be the featured speaker and speak for longer than a few minutes. But it is a great thing. I went to several different chapters and gave it a go and thought, I'm okay. It's different. It's not, I'm interested in the seminar industry, speaking from stage that way. Theirs was more of a corporate kind of approach to speaking, which was different. And it did fit me as well. Pardon?
I said, that's interesting because the chapter I went to was like everyday people in their careers who wanted to get a little bit better at speaking. And surprisingly, there's a lot of international people, like people on visas who went there because they wanted more confidence to speak up in the workplace. And there wasn't anyone, there's only one other person there for business, but like you said, its skills are transferable. It's highly recommend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, geez, it's a really great way to learn and to get comfortable speaking in front of a group. And that's a great way to do it because you're amongst friends who are there to help you. You may have never met them before, but they're all there for the same reason. So they're not ever going to heckle you. They're not going to give you a hard time. They're going to be assisting you and providing you feedback so you can get better.
Yeah.
And that's one of the Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the cool things they do is they make you do improv, like table topics.
Yes.
There's this new study that the more, the better you get at improv, the more creative you are and the more persuasive you are just unconsciously by getting better at improvising. So it's different situations. Have you seen that? I don't know if it was a study or an article or something like that.
I haven't seen the study, but I did do the tabletops. It was like 2 minutes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to boast or brag, but I did it twice in all the times I went, and I won both times. So it was pretty fun. And nice. I was like right under 2 minutes. That was other things we learned was time management without having a clock in front of us. All good stuff. But it was fun. Definitely fun, engaging. And improv is fun where they just give you a topic and you just start talking for 2 minutes. That's pretty cool.
It gets you. Sometimes you freeze, but then other times you just babble. And then other times pure gold comes out of your mouth and you're like, where the shit did that come from? Like, oh my gosh.
And that happens when the nerves go away and the ego goes away and you're just being yourself. And that's the thing. That's why scripted presentations aren't as effective. You can have an outline, for a talk, a seminar, a boot camp, but to script it and read it every word, especially if you're up on stage and you're just recanting what you memorized, it's not as impactful. Let's just say that. Unless you've gotten really good and you're like a movie actor and you know how to read so that it sounds like you're talking and you're really acting it out. The emotions are natural. Very few people have that skill set.
But tell you where a script is really important? Inside of your emails.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely need to think that through. It's not just like, oh my God, all right, let's just write this on a whim. Let's put no thought into it. Let's just get it done. Yeah. It needs a bit more strategy behind that. I know we've gone for an hour now, so I don't know how much time we've got to dive into that. But
my goodness, thank you for reminding me. That's a good sign that it's been a lot of fun. And it's normally an hour-long show. I hope folks can hang around for a little bit more. We'll give away the prize. Let's do that now, so that honor their and respect their time. You have one to give away as well. And then before we end the show, Jules, I like to ask that there's one final question every time that I love to ask. And it's a very powerful, profound, not because of the question, but because of the answers I get. I ask the same one each and every show. I hope you didn't cheat and listen to one before this one and know what it is. But even if you did, good. You're going to love it. So before we do that, real quick, I'm so glad you said time. You're watching it better than I am. I was just having too much fun talking to you. So that's a very good sign. Very engaging.
You're too boring, mate. I had to get rid of you.
No kidding. I think I'm just mesmerized by that white microphone, man. That thing is so white. It's so bleach. It's like, wow, that's pretty neat. All right, here is how you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. For those of you watching live, yes, and guest speakers are eligible to win. I am not kidding. It's randomly selected, and I just don't know if Australia is in. We'll find out. I don't know. Not all countries
Is
are.
Australia on Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have running water. I think we did.
Yeah.
That's good. All right.
I got this from the pond. All right, sorry, continue.
The pond. That's good. So if you're watching, so now you do have our permission to, just for a moment, take your attention away from the screen, because you need to bring up a browser of some kind or your phone browser application so you can go to a website, which I'll put up on the screen for those of you watching. And that is ryp.im/vacation. So RYP stands for Reach Your Peak, just to make it a little easier. That's the name of my company, ryp.im/vacation. And just enter your information there, and you'll be entered into a random drawing. And we'll announce the winner later this evening. Whoever does win will get contacted directly via text and or email. We'll decide on that. And then we'll announce the winner. And I hope you win. Whoever is out there watching, I look forward to handing you that wonderful prize. Again, this is all brought to us by the Big Insider Secrets. That is Jason Nast and his company, my best buddy in the world. He's a great guy. Speaking of great guys, we got this guy with a white microphone, Jules Dan, who might have something for all of you. If you recall what that was.
Yep, I've got it here. It's all good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take it away. I'll pull up the appropriate website so you can explain how folks can get to that.
Okay, no problem. All right, so if you're a coach, consultant, course creator, you've got an email list and you're trying to put people opting in, maybe through like a webinar, a lead magnet, you're running Facebook ads, but the back end isn't converting. So you're not getting customers booked on the calls or making a sale or anything like that. I've got something really cool for you guys. Normally I charge around $1,500 for this. This is a consulting audit, right? Where I go through your back end emails, I look at the strategy, I look at the copy, the headline, the subject lines, and tell you how to make more money basically with that consulting call. But I've got something special for Brian's listeners, and that's basically for free. So if you'd like to redeem it, all you got to do is just send me an email to support@julesdan.com. Let's just say his subject line will be Mind, Body, Business, Jules freebie or something like that. If you can't remember that crazy subject line, then no problem.
Is it different than what I had on the screen there, Jules?
Well, that is just my website, which leads to a book a call. But if you'd just like to shoot me an email and not go through all the steps as well, then you're more welcome to do that.
So in order to shoot you an email, could they go to your website? Is there a contact form as well?
No.
All right. And so
there is a book a call.
Oh, there is.
That is my email I just put in the chat there. I don't know if that helps.
Good. Let me see where that is. And I'll post that to everyone. Thank you for that. That is watching. This will show up on all of the streams that we are going live on at the moment. And we'll go to comments and paste it. And awesome. So just mentioned Mind Body Business Show somewhere in the email, the subject line, whatever. And then that should jog Jules's memory. He's a young guy. He'll still remember stuff like that. I might forget, being an older guy.
Yeah.
But
and this isn't a like fake $1,500 thing. Like last week I had a very cool client, video ad production guy for Russell Brunson. Don't tell him that I gave this away for free for Brian's people. But it's a special thing I wanted to give to you guys.
Fantastic. So just email him. You see the email in the stream. If you are unable to get that, I'll say it verbally. And for how long is this going to be good for, Jules, for those that might be hearing this as a recording?
Oh, we're going live. Oh, okay. We're gonna make it 7 days. Can't be loitering, guys. Can't be sitting on your hands.
All right. So in 7 days, be sure to email, or not in 7 days, before 7 days is up. What that means is email him right now. Not kidding. Do it now. Take action. Action is rewarded. Support at julesdan.com. That's JULESDAN.com. I put the wrong button there. So I want the website banner, julesdan.com. So you want support at what you see on the screen, julesdan.com. So go ahead and shoot off that email so you can be one of those lucky recipients of this very secretive prize. You don't want to tell anybody about it because
I just gave the whole spiel. It's not a secret.
Just don't want to tell the folks, the other folks you work.
Oh, yeah. Right. I see what you're saying.
Yes. So we do have this one final question. We have gone over a bit on time. I appreciate you both, Jules, for you sticking on, and all of you who are watching us live, plus those who are going to watch this or are watching as a recorded video, and those who are listening on podcasts. Appreciate you all. And on that note, if you want to get an automated reminder, and that's all they are, is just automated reminder of the show about to go live, then just go to themindbodybusinessshow.com. And on there, you will see lots of buttons that tell you when and where to watch. And you just click on any one of those. It'll instantly jump you to the bottom and enter your contact information there. And you'll get an email message every time we go live. And you can opt out anytime you want. And we don't use that list to try to sell you anything. Like I said, my show is not my business. It is here to inform and educate and help you get to the next step faster because of amazing people like this guy, Jules Dan, who come on the show and share their genius and brilliance. With that said, Jules, the great thing about this question, there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It does not exist. You cannot get the answer wrong.
But there can be bad answers.
No, I mean, the exact opposite is the truth. The only correct answer is yours.
All right, let's hear it then.
Does that get you a little curious? Just a little bit?
Gets me half excited. Yeah.
And so it's just a smidgen personal, only because it's unique to you. That's all. As deep as it goes is personal, but I find it very profound what the answers are. So with that, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
That's a yes. All right. I heard it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Jules Dan, how do you define success?
The way I see it is that if you can wake up every single day and get excited to do what you do, the work that you do has a ripple effect on other people's lives. You get paid well to do it. That to me is success.
You know what's coming. Yes. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Jules Dan right there. The man, the myth, the legend. I thank you so very much, Jules, for coming on the show, for dropping such incredible value for everybody. And the thing I love about this is this show isn't just live. It's around for as long as we have discs to keep it on and web servers for podcasts and other things and video. So your gifts will live for a very, very long time for those that come on, because you gave a lot of timeless advice. And I appreciate that. And for you giving so freely of your time and your wisdom. So I appreciate you, my brother.
Thanks, Brian. Really, really appreciate you coming on for letting me come on your show, man. I really liked it.
Yeah. And thank you for having me on yours as well. So look up Jules Dan. What's your podcast name again?
Storytelling Secrets.
Storytelling Secrets. I love that. And so if you want to hear some great stuff, learn how and he's developing his copywriting skills. You're going to learn from that, because that's what he does. He tells stories and that show empathy. And I'm sure he'll be revealing some of those great stories on his podcast if he hasn't already. That
Every
he's
week
also
with secrets.
I love it. All right. We got to turn this thing off for the night. I could go on for another hour, but it is getting later here in the US, and I know it's just still morning there. I think it is. But
Almost lunch.
Almost lunch. All right. Well, we got to let the man eat. All right. So on behalf of the amazing Jules Dan, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. We will be back again next time with another great episode. Until then, have a great, great evening. So long and be blessed, everyone. Bye-bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.